Good morning, my friends. Happy Saturday. There's no Bassmaster this morning to entertain you because Bassy is in the hospital. His toy is sitting right here beside me, and he can't come jump for it. He's been throwing up a lot last 4 days. He's been throwing up a couple times a day, and then yesterday it was 4 times, and it's like, not to be gross, but it's like already partially digested. It's not like, you know how dogs throw up whole food. It wasn't that, which is a sign of a blockage. So we took him in and they x-rayed, and they think there's potential blockage. It's hard to tell, but they think there's stuffing from toys in there. But it doesn't show up super clear on the x-ray. So it may be a blockage. It may be a virus. It's impossible really to know. So they were going to keep him overnight and put him on IV fluids to try to push everything through and hopefully clear out his belly. He's happy and playful besides throwing up a lot. And so he's there overnight. And the reason I tell you this at the beginning of devotions is because if my phone rings, because they were going to call me this morning, and I've waited and they haven't called yet. So if my phone rings during devotions, I will put you all on pause and you just have to wait. But he's there. And they also did some blood work while he was there that came back concerning, and they believe he actually might have cancer of some sort, but they suspect he does have bladder stones, and they suspect that the cancer he has might be parathyroid, which will cause bladder stones. And he's been getting bladder stones for 3 years. So there's potential that he has or has had cancer for a while, and they don't believe the throwing up has anything to do with it. They don't think that necessarily he is sick with cancer. They just think that he potentially may have it, which wouldn't surprise me because he's a golden retriever and it's very, very, very common. So I'm not stressing about that right now because he could go for a long time with that. It's not going to stress me out right now. There's no reason for it to stress me out right now. So I'm more stressed that he gets whatever is going on right now out and stops puking and other things. So that will be a lovely, I got a quote for one night in the hospital for a dog. You think it's expensive to go to the ER? Try taking a dog overnight in the hospital. It's going to be anywhere between $1,100 and $1,700. I just threw up a little. I'm going to be in the ER puking here before long. These doctor bills from vets. Okay. Should have been a veterinarian. Let me just say that. Okay. People complained to Moses, Numbers 11, 1 through 15. Soon the people began to complain about their hardship, and the Lord heard everything they said. Then the Lord's anger blazed against them, and he sent a fire to rage among them. And he destroyed some of the people in the outskirts of the camp. Then the people screamed to Moses for help, and when he prayed to the Lord, the fire stopped. After that, the area was known as Taberah, which means the place of burning, because the fire from the Lord had burned among them there. Then the foreign rabble who were traveling with the Israelites began to crave the good things of Egypt. And the people of Israel also began to complain. "Oh, for some meat," they exclaimed. "We remember the fish we used to eat for free in Egypt, and we had all the cucumbers, melons, leeks, onions, and garlic we wanted. But now our appetites are gone. All we ever see is this manna." The manna looked like small coriander seed, and it was pale yellow like gum resin. The people would go out and gather it from the ground. They made flour by grinding it with hand mills and pounding it into mortars. Then they boiled it in a pot and made it into flat cakes. These cakes tasted like pastries baked with olive oil. The manna came down on the camp with the dew during the night. Moses heard all the families standing in the doorway of their tents whining, and the Lord became extremely angry. Moses was also very aggravated, and Moses said to the Lord, "Why are you treating me, your servant, so harshly? Have mercy on me. What did I do to deserve the burden of all of these people? Did I give birth to them? Did I bring them into the world? I can just hear him. Did I do all of this? Did I give birth to them? Did I bring them into the world? Why did you tell me to carry them in my arms like a mother carries a nursing baby? How can I carry them to the land you swore to give their ancestors? Where am I supposed to get meat for all these people? They keep whining to me, saying, Give us meat to eat. I can't carry all of these people by myself. The load is far too heavy. If this is how you intend to treat me, then just go ahead and kill me. Do not favor and spare me this misery. Moses chooses 70 leaders, Numbers 11, 16 through 30. Then the Lord said to Moses, Gather before me 70 men who are recognized as elders and leaders of Israel. Bring them to the tabernacle to stand there with you. I will come down and talk to you there. I will take some of the spirit that is upon you, and I will put the spirit upon them also. They will bear the burden of the people along with you, so you will not have to carry it alone. And say to the people, Purify yourselves, for tomorrow you will have meat to eat. You were whining, and the Lord heard you when you cried, Oh, for some meat. We were better off in Egypt. Now the Lord will give you meat, and you will have to eat it. And it won't be for just a day or two, or for 5 or 10 or even 20. You will eat it for a whole month until you gag and are sick of it. For you have rejected the Lord. Who is here among you? And you have whined to him, saying, Why did we ever leave Egypt? But Moses responded to the Lord, There are 600,000 foot soldiers here with me, and yet you say, I will give them meat for a whole month. Even if we butchered all of our flocks and herds, would that satisfy them? Even if we caught all the fish in the sea, would that be enough? Then the Lord said to Moses, Has my arm lost its power? Now you will see whether or not my word comes true. So Moses went out and reported the Lord's words to the people. He gathered 70 elders and stationed them around the tabernacle. And the Lord came down in a cloud and spoke to Moses. Then he gave the 70 elders the same spirit that was upon Moses. And when the spirit rested upon them, they prophesied. But this never happened again. 2 men, Eldad and Medad, had stayed behind in the camp. They were listed among the elders, but they had not gone out to the tabernacle. Yet the Spirit rested upon them as well. So they prophesied there in the camp. A young man ran and reported to Moses, Eldad and Medad are prophesying in the camp. Joshua, son of Nun, who had been Moses' assistant since his youth, protested, Moses, my master, make them stop. But Moses replied, Are you jealous for my sake? I wish that all the Lord's people were prophets, and that the Lord would put his Spirit upon them all. Then Moses returned to the camp with the elders of Israel. The Lord sends quail, Numbers 11:31 through 35. Now the Lord sent a wind and brought quail from the sea and let them fall all around the camp. For miles in every direction there were quail flying about 3 feet above the ground. So the people went out and caught quail all day and throughout the night and all the next day too. No one gathered less than 50 bushels. They spread the quail all around the camp to dry. But while they were gorging themselves on the meat, while it was still in their mouths, the anger of the Lord blazed against the people, and he struck them with a severe plague. So that place is called Kibroth Hattaavah, which means graves of gluttony, because they buried the people who had craved meat from Egypt. From Kibroth Hattaavah, the Israelites traveled to Hazeroth, where they stayed for some time. The complaints of Miriam and Aaron. Numbers 12:1 through 16. While they were at Hazeroth, Miriam and Aaron criticized Moses because he had married a Cushite woman. They said, Has the Lord spoken only through Moses? Hasn't he spoken through us too? But the Lord heard them. Now Moses was very humble, more humble than any other person on earth. So immediately the Lord called to Moses, Aaron, and Miriam and said, Go out of the tabernacle, all 3 of you. So the 3 of them went to the tabernacle of the tabernacle. Then the Lord descended in the pillar of cloud and stood at the entrance of the tabernacle. Aaron and Miriam he called, and they stepped forward, and the Lord said to them, Now listen to what I say. If there were prophets among you, I, the Lord, would reveal myself in visions. I would speak to them in dreams, but not with my servant Moses. Of all my house, he is the one I trust. I speak to him face to face, clearly, and not in riddles. He sees the Lord as he is. So why were you not afraid to criticize my servant Moses? The Lord was very angry with them, and he departed. As the cloud moved from above the tabernacle, there stood Miriam, her skin as white as snow from leprosy. When Aaron saw what had happened to her, he cried out to Moses, "Oh, my master, please don't punish us for the sin we have so foolishly committed. Don't let her be like a stillborn baby, already decayed at birth." So Moses cried out to the Lord, "Oh God, I beg you, please heal her." But the Lord said to Moses, "If her father had done nothing more then spit in her face, wouldn't she be defiled for 7 days? So keep her outside the camp for 7 days, and after that she may be accepted back." So Miriam was kept outside the camp for 7 days, and the people waited until she was brought back before they traveled again. Then they left Hazeroth and camped in the wilderness of Paran. 12 scouts explore Canaan, Numbers 13, 1 through 24. The Lord now said to Moses, "Send out men to explore the land of Canaan, the land I am giving to the Israelites. Send one leader from each of the 12 ancestral tribes." So Moses did as the Lord had commanded him. He set out 12 men, all tribal leaders of Israel, from the camp in the wilderness of Paran. These were the tribes and the names of their leaders. From the tribe of Reuben, the leader was Shemua, son of Zachar. From the tribe of Simeon, Shaphat, son of Hori. From Judah, Caleb, son of Jephunneh. From Issachar, Igal, son of Joseph. From Ephraim, Hoshea, son of Nun. From Benjamin, Palti, son of Raphu. From Zebulun, Gadiel, son of Sodi. From Manasseh, son of Joseph. Gadi, son of Susi. From Dan, Amiel, son of Gemalli. From Asher, Sether, son of Michael. From Naphtali, Nabi, son of Vophsi. From Gad, Gaol, son of Maki. These are the names of the men Moses sent out to explore the land. Moses called Hoshea, son of Nun, by the name Joshua. Moses gave the men these instructions as he sent them out to explore the land. "Go north through the Negev into the hill country. See what the land is like, and find out whether the people living there are strong or weak, few or many. See what kind of land they live in. Is it good or bad? Do their towns have walls? Are they unprotected like open camps? Is the soil fertile or poor? Are there many trees? Do your best to bring back samples of the crops you see." It happened to be the season for harvesting the first ripe grapes. So they went and explored the land from the wilderness of Zin as far as Rehob near Lebo Hamath. Going north, they passed through the Negev and arrived at Hebron, where Ahiman, Sheshai, and Talmai, all the descendants of Anak, lived. The ancient town of Hebron was founded 7 years before the Egyptian city of Zoan. When they came to the valley of Eshcol, they cut down a branch with a single cluster of grapes so large that it took 2 of them to carry it on a pole between them. They also brought back samples of pomegranates and figs. That place was called the Valley of Eshcol, which means cluster, because of the cluster of grapes the Israelite men cut there. The scouting report, Numbers 13, 25 through 33. After exploring the land for 40 days, the men returned to Moses, Aaron, and the whole community of Israel at Kadesh in the wilderness of Paran. They reported to the whole community what they had seen and showed them the fruit they had taken from the land. This was their report to Moses. "We entered the land you sent us to explore, and it is indeed a bountiful country, a land flowing with milk and honey. Here is the kind of fruit it produces, but the people living there are powerful, and their towns are large and fortified. We even saw giants there, the descendants of Anak. The Amalekites live in the Negev, and the Hittites, Jebusites, and Amorites live in the hill country. The Canaanites live along the coast of the Mediterranean Sea and along the Jordan Valley." But Caleb tried to quiet the people as they stood before Moses. "Let's go once to take the land," he said. "We can certainly conquer it." But the other men who had explored the land with him disagreed. "We can't go up against them. They are stronger than we are." So they spread this bad report about the land among the Israelites. "The land we traveled through and explored will devour anyone who goes to live there. All the people we saw were huge. We even saw giants there with the descendants of Anak. Next to them, we felt like grasshoppers, and that's what they thought too." Okay. All right, let's do our devotional. We're on page 77, the poem titled The Word Across the Land. He's stretching forth his word across the land, reaching out his hand to fallen man. There's a new song in the air. There's joy to be found. He's stretching forth his word across the land, reaching out his hand to fallen man. Jesus made a way in a land that was bound. He's stretching forth his word across the land, reaching out his hand to fallen man. Love found a way. Power and victory has come today. February 24th, 1988. All right. All right, let me get back to the chat. Yeah, it's insane, Shelly. $680 for a chicken test. Jennifer. I love paw grape. It is, Deanna. You're right. You're absolutely right. She says, I wish I never complained. We forget it's a sin. Always humbling to read the Old Testament. Yeah. Mom says, thank God I put pet insurance on my guys that has a $250 deductible and a $5,000 limit. Yep. I mean, if we had put pet insurance on the dog, it would have legit been worth every penny at this point. We have paid hold on, I can't do two things at once, apparently. We have paid for a left leg surgery, which was $6,000, a right leg surgery, which was $4,000, a bladder surgery that was $3,200, another bladder surgery that was $3,200, and now this, which is probably going to be $1,700, because when is anything ever on the low end? Ever. That pet insurance legit is a good idea. Never buy a dog without pet insurance, especially a golden retriever. He's the $1 million animal. I think when he's gone, we're going to bury him in the backyard and a money tree is going to grow. And I'm going to pick dollar bills off it. All right. I love that dog. I'll pay it. It is what it is. Listen, I'll sell a kidney for that golden retriever. I will skip paying the heating bill. We will sit in a cold house to pay for the dog if we have to. Oh, all right, my friends, let's go ahead and end in a word of prayer. Father God, thank you so much for this opportunity to come before you with our prayers. And God, thank you for the reminder this morning that complaining is a sin and that we need to guard our hearts from those things and not fall into the pit of complaining. You have it under control, and we just need to trust in you and your sovereignty, put our faith in you, and you take care of your children. And God, I just thank you for that reminder today, and I just pray that you will help us all to keep that at the forefront of our hearts and our thoughts today. God, we lift up Susan to you as she gets ready to go for her heart cath Monday. I'm sure she's nervous and anxious about it, and I just pray for the peace that passes all understanding to be surrounding Susan today, that you will just comfort her, give her a sense of peace, give her comfort, give her the knowledge of safety in you. God, I pray for Bessie today that you will clear whatever this issue is that's happening and that he will be feeling better quickly. And I also pray for the cost to be on the lower end. I know that you care about what's on our hearts, and you care about the practical things in our lives. God, thank you for your love and your mercy and your word today, your reminders today. to focus on the good, to honor you with our words and our actions and our thoughts. In your precious name I pray. Amen. All right, my friends, thank you for joining me. I'm considering, I'm in a holding pattern. I don't know how long before they call. I have no idea. That they said they would call this morning. So surely if I go live, they'll call in the middle of it and I'll have to pause it, which is fine. So I'm just debating what I'm going to do, but I do want to make some sort of dessert that can last me for the week. That's a fuel pull or very light dessert to have this week. And I think I know what that is. So maybe you'll join me for that. And if not, I'll see you back tomorrow for more devotions. I love you guys. Thanks for being here.